Yeah, to me it's about okay, so he basically says, if you listen to me, you'd be in a house somewhere with full stomach, you'd be happy and safe and everything's fine. But you're not. Now you're starving to death and in danger of dying because you didn't listen to me. What he's trying to say is, who's the smartest one on this boat, me or that pilot you listen to? I think that's what he's trying to let the crew know. He's basically trying to cause a mutiny in the head here. He's saying, if you guys had listened to me instead of the pilot of this ship, you guys would be in a lot better shape right now. So trust me. And then, so good.
I was just thinking he's trying to build trust.
Yes. He already has that with Julius, the prison guard. He already has it so much the guard's just letting him go see his buddies all the time. Now, and so he already has it with the prison guard. Now he's trying to get the crew. And so he's like, man, trust me, I'm a lot smarter than the guy you listen to. And then he didn't say, I'm the smart guy. Who did he say? God has given me. So he gives all the glory to God. So it is a conversion type of opportunity that Paul sees here as he points unto God. And he tries to, once he points out the fact that, hey, I'm smarter than the guy who got you in this place, so listen to me from now on. Once he gets done with that, then he encourages him. He says, you're not going to die. And the reason I know you're not going to, if I've been right on everything so far, I'm going to be right on this. You're going to live because I have to go stand before Caesar. God says I'm going to make it to Caesar, and everyone on this ship who's under me is going to live. God told me that. So he says, don't be scared. Have encouragement. So he lifts them up. Not only because he says remember when it says in 20, they gave up all hope of being saved. They had no hope. So here comes the smartest guy in the bunch, and he gives them hope. You're going to live. I guarantee it. God has told me. God has said this is going to happen. So he gives the crew hope back. So here's a guy who's been proven right in everything he says, and he's giving them hope, which in turn, what happens if you're out on a boat and you have 50, 100 people on a crew and they all lose hope? They stop working. But when they have hope again, what are they going to do? They're going to go back to work. So Paul is just being a genius here in everything he's doing. He's getting them back to working again. He gives them a future. He gives them hope in God. He gives them the seed of his God. I mean, he does so much here, spiritually, physically, everything for them. I mean, he's just amazing what he does here. Yes? Yeah, we're going to find out what happens when he gets to Rome, because that's kind of mind-blowing too, right? Let's talk about that in a second. Number 7, when we get down to verse 32, we find that let's go. Starting in verse 27 is when the shipwreck starts happening. On the 14th night, we're still being driven across the Adriatic Sea. The sailors sensed approaching land. They took soundings, and it's getting shallower and shallower. And so, verse 33, just before dawn, Paul urged them all to eat. For the last 14 days, he said, you have been in constant suspense, have gone without food. Have you ever ate no food for 14 days? 7 days is as long as I went. I did a mountain man camp where we ate bugs, and I refused to eat the bugs. That's disgusting. So I just didn't eat anything for 7 days. And let me tell you, it was terrible. But anyway, so 14 days, I can't even imagine. You know how they say after you haven't eaten in a long time, you stop being hungry? That didn't work for me. I don't know. 7 days went, I was pretty stinking hungry. So anyways, it says, now I urge you to take some food. You need it to survive. Not one of you will lose a single hair in his head. So not a single one of you is going to lose a hair in his head. Verse 32, why did the sailors start cutting away the lifeboat? That's kind of an amazing thing. Why would they do that? Huh? Well, there you go, Nancy. That's it. It shows 100% trust in what Paul has said. Paul said, you're not going to die. Don't worry. And so they cut away their security blanket. They cut away their security blanket because they had full trust in Paul. That's just an amazing... A guy who's in prisoner who's going to go on trial, and now the whole crew has been won over by Paul. They believe in Paul. Paul gave them hope. They believe in him and his God, and so they cut away their one security blanket. It's sort of like burning the bridge. There's no way back after that. So they put all their faith and trust in Paul, and that's why that was such an amazing little thing there. And then verse 43 or 37, altogether there were 276 on board. When they had eaten as much as they wanted, they lightened the ship by throwing the grain in the sea. When daylight came, they didn't recognize the land, but saw a bay with a sandy beach, where they decided to run the ship aground if they could. Cutting loose the anchors, they left them in the sea, and at the same time untied the ropes that held the rudders. They hoisted the foresail of the wind and made for the beach. That's just the kamikaze run right there. Ain't nothing stopping us. We're going. We're heading for the beach. So anyway, the bow struck fast and would not move, and the stern was broken to pieces by the pounding of the surf. The soldiers planned to kill the prisoners to prevent any of them from swimming away and escaping. But the centurion wanted to spare Paul's life and kept them from carrying out their plan. He ordered those who could swim to jump aboard first and get to land. And the rest were to get there on planks on pieces of the ship. This way everyone reached land in safety. All right, so what does verse 43 say about the centurion? Well, we already talked about how much Paul being so trusted. Now, the plan was, hey, let's kill all the prisoners. That way we'll have more food, and we don't trust them running anyway. But what did the centurion standing up against the 276 on board? What is the centurion against 200 people? What does that say about the centurion? Yeah, this guy's a honorable, respectful kind of guy. He's a man of character. He's a man of courage who stands